Okay, so picture this. I'm sitting on my couch, scrolling through Instagram like the mindless zombie we all become at 11 p.m. when I get this text from my husband. Archer, meeting's running late. Miss you? Complete with a heart emoji. How sweet, right? Except for one tiny detail, Archer was supposedly in Denver for a super important work conference. And according to the location, I just happened to check on our shared phone account. Yes, I stooped that low, but hold your judgment. He was actually at Sunset Paradise Resort and Spa in a town just 2 hours away. The same resort that literally advertises itself as where lovers escape on billboards along the highway. Yeah, let that sink in. I'm Stella, by the way, and welcome to the steaming hot mess that was my marriage. Archer and I met in college. Your classic eyes meeting across a crowded frat party situation. He was hot, I was tipsy, and somehow that turned into 5 years of marriage. The early years were great. He'd bring me coffee in bed, I'd pretend to enjoy watching football, and we were that disgustingly cute couple everyone secretly hates. Fast forward to 6 months ago. Archer started having these critical business trips pop up like whack-a-moles. At first, it was once a month, then every other weekend, each time with the same script. Huge client, can't miss it. Wish I could stay home with you, babe. And dummy me, I believed him. I mean, he works in sales. People in sales travel, right? Plus, he'd always come back with these detailed stories about his meetings and the guys from the Denver office. He even brought me back souvenirs. Talk about commitment to the bit. So, back to that Friday night, there I was, staring at my phone like it was about to sprout legs and tap dance across the coffee table. Archer's little location dot was happily pulsing away at Sunset Paradise, while I was home alone with our cat, Muffin, who, by the way, is also a terrible liar. When Archer's not home, she sleeps on his pillow, something he's allergic to. Sure, buddy, I did what any rational person would do. I threw my phone across the room, opened a bottle of wine, drank half of it straight from the bottle, then called my best friend Alexa. He's what? She screeched after I explained the situation. Oh, hell no, you're not just sitting there, we're going. Going where? I asked, already knowing the answer and dreading it. To Sunset Paradise, obviously! I'll pick you up in 15 minutes. This is why you should choose your friends carefully, folks. The good ones will drop everything to help you catch your cheating spouse. The best ones will already be wearing all black, in case we need to do some covert ops, as Alexa explained. The drive to Sunset Paradise was filled with Alexa's increasingly insane theories. Maybe he's planning a surprise vow renewal. Maybe he's being held hostage by corporate spies. And me fluctuating between crying, laughing hysterically, and plotting elaborate revenge scenarios involving his beloved fantasy football trophies. We arrived at the resort around 9 p.m. It was exactly as cheesy as you'd expect. Heart-shaped everything, mood lighting, and a lobby fountain that somehow managed to look phallic. Stay classy, Sunset Paradise. What's the plan? Alexa whispered as we lurked behind a giant potted palm in the lobby. I don't know, I hissed back. I didn't think we'd get this far. Just then, the elevator doors opened and out walked Archer. M.Y. Archer. Arm in arm with a woman who was definitely not me, unless I'd recently dyed my hair platinum blonde and grown 4 inches taller. Are you kidding me? I whispered. She looks like if I was ordered from Wish.com. Archer and Walmart me were laughing about something. He was wearing the watch I got him for Christmas. She was wearing a sparkly thing on her left hand that made my stomach drop to my knees. Should we confront them? Alexa asked, already rolling up her sleeves. No, I said, suddenly calm. I have a better idea. I marched up to the front desk, channeling my inner Karen. Hi there. My husband and I are staying here for the weekend, but silly me, I forgot our room number. Could you help? Last name Miller. The receptionist, whose name tag read Brad, smiled politely. Of course, let me check that for you. A few keyboard clicks later, Brad's smile faltered. I'm sorry, we don't have anyone registered under Miller. Oh, that's weird, I said, maintaining my soccer mom cheeriness. Maybe he booked it under his company name? Archer Miller. He's about 6 feet tall, brown hair, just walked out with a blonde woman. Brad's eyes widened slightly. Oh, you mean Mr. and Mrs. Wilson. They're in the honeymoon suite. They've been coming here every weekend this month. Such a lovely newlywed couple. The words hit me like a truck. Newlywed, couple, every weekend this month. I think there's been a mistake, I said faintly. Would you like me to call up to their room? Brad offered helpfully. No! I practically shouted, causing several nearby couples to turn and stare. I mean, no thank you. I must be confused. Sorry to bother you. I speed-walked back to Alexa, who was now poorly disguised behind a brochure for couples massage packages. He's married to her, I choked out. They're in the honeymoon suite. Alexa's jaw dropped. But he's already married! To you! Apparently not according to the Wilsons, I said, making aggressive air quotes. They've been coming here every weekend. So all those business trips were honeymoon trips with Barbie over there? I wish I could tell you I handled it maturely, that I calmly collected my evidence, contacted a lawyer, and proceeded with dignity. Nope! What I actually did was march over to the hotel restaurant where Archer and his wife were now seated for a romantic dinner, grab a glass of ice water from a passing server, and dump it directly onto Archer's head. What the... Stella! Archer sputtered, jumping up from his chair. What are you doing here? Funny, I was about to ask you the same thing, I said, enjoying the way his hair was now plastered to his forehead. Specifically, what are you doing here with her when you're supposed to be in Denver and married to me? The blonde looked from Archer to me, her expression shifting from confusion to horror. You're married, she gasped. Technically, yes, I replied, oddly calm now. Going on 5 years and you are... His wife, she said, voice shaking. We got married last month. Now it was my turn to be shocked. Legally? With a license and everything? She nodded, tears welling in her eyes. I turned to Archer, who was frantically trying to dry himself with a cloth napkin. Congratulations! You're not just a cheater, you're a bigamist. That's an actual crime, you know. By now, the entire restaurant was watching our little drama unfold. Archer tried to speak, but I cut him off. Save it! I've heard enough of your lies to last a lifetime. I turned to his other wife. I'm sorry you got caught up in this. He's all yours now, along with his $30,000 in credit card debt and his weird toe thing. I spun on my heel, grabbed Alexa, who was filming the entire exchange, bless her, and walked out with whatever dignity I had left. The fallout was nuclear, as you might expect. Turns out Archer had been legally married to both of us, a fact that made our divorce proceedings extra spicy. His little blonde wife, whose name I later learned was Tiffany because, of course it was, left him too once she discovered I wasn't the only skeleton in his closet. Apparently, there was also a girlfriend in Chicago and some questionable financial activities at his company. The divorce took 8 months, during which Archer lost his job, his house, technically our house, and judging by his sad Facebook photos, a significant amount of hair. Karma's a glorious thing to witness. As for me, I'm doing surprisingly okay. I sold the house, adopted another cat to keep Muffin company, and used part of the divorce settlement to open the bakery I'd always dreamed about. Turns out people love buying breakup-themed cupcakes from the bigamy bakery lady. Thanks, local news. Oh, and the wildest part, Tiffany and I are now friends. I mean, who better to understand what you've been through than the other woman who lived the same nightmare? We meet for coffee once a month to marvel at our shared terrible taste in men. Life's funny that way. 1 minute you're tracking your lying husband to a honeymoon suite. The next, you're building a better life than you ever had with him. And Archer? Last I heard, he's living in his parents' basement and trying to sell exercise equipment on Instagram. His profile still says happily married, which I find hilarious. Old habits die hard, I guess. Update 3 months later. Hey again, internet friends. Stella here with an update on the dumpster fire formerly known as my marriage. First off, thank you for all the messages and support. Also to the person who suggested I put laxatives in Archer's shampoo before I moved out. You're my kind of petty, but sadly, that's probably illegal. So, what's happened in the last 3 months? Well, buckle up. Remember how I mentioned Archer was doing some questionable financial activities at his company? Turns out questionable was putting it mildly. The man was embezzling money to fund his double life. Nothing says romance like stolen corporate funds, am I right? Archer is now facing criminal charges, and his LinkedIn profile has mysteriously vanished. Shocking, I know, but here's where it gets really weird. About a month ago, I got a phone call from a number I didn't recognize. I normally don't answer those. Thanks, car warranty scammers. But something told me to pick up. Hello, is this Stella Miller? Who's asking? I replied because apparently divorce has made me suspicious of literally everyone. This is Amanda. I think I might be married to your ex-husband. You guys, there was a third wife. I laughed so hard I actually pulled a muscle in my side. Then I met Amanda for drinks because at this point, why not start a club? Amanda is actually lovely, a kindergarten teacher who met Archer at a coffee shop last year. Their marriage was just 4 months ago. She found out about his situation when the police contacted her during their investigation. I thought it was weird that we had to get married at that resort instead of a church, she told me over our third margarita, and that he never introduced me to any of his friends or family. Classic Archer move, Tiffany chimed in, because yes, I invited her too. What's more healing than an Archer's Wives support group? You know what's sad, Amanda said. I really thought I'd found the one. I snorted tequila up my nose. Honey, he was the one with 3 wives simultaneously. We laughed until we cried, then cried until we laughed again. The restaurant staff probably thought we were having some kind of collective breakdown, which wasn't entirely inaccurate. As for my bigamy bakery, not its actual name, unfortunately, due to legal concerns, according to my lawyer, business is booming. I've hired 2 employees and we're expanding our menu beyond cupcakes. Our best seller remains the trust issues tiramisu, though the prenup praline is gaining popularity. My apartment feels more like home now, especially since I painted over all the beige walls Archer insisted on. Turns out I'm a bold color choices kind of gal. The living room is now emerald green and I regret nothing. Dating, I've dipped my toe back in those waters, very tentatively. I've gone on a few dates with a guy named Finn who owns the bookstore down the street from my bakery. He seems normal, but I now have a 6-stage verification process that includes a background check and surprise visits to his workplace. Trust issues? Me? No. Oh, and remember Muffin, my cat. She's thriving as a single-parent household pet. Archer's allergies miraculously disappeared when he wanted to keep her in the divorce. But the judge took one look at his situation and was like, "Sir, you can't even handle one marriage. You don't get the cat." The most unexpected development in all this is how much lighter I feel. Yes, Archer absolutely shattered my trust, humiliated me, and committed actual felonies. But somehow, I'm happier now than I was in the last few years of our marriage. It's like I was carrying around this heavy backpack full of rocks, the rocks being red flags I was ignoring. And now I've dumped it all out and can finally stand up straight. So that's where things are now. Archer's legal troubles continue. The Ex-Wives Club meets monthly for drinks, and I'm figuring out who Stella 2.0 is. She likes emerald green walls, doesn't check her partner's location obsessively, and makes a mean lemon meringue pie. Life after betrayal isn't always pretty, but sometimes it's pretty damn good. Update 1 year later. Well, hello there, strangers. It's been a whole year since the honeymoon suite saga, and what a year it's been. I probably should have updated sooner, but I've been busy living my best post-bigamist life. Also, therapy. Lots and lots of therapy. Let's start with the Archer situation, since that's what you're all here for. Our favorite serial husband was sentenced to 3 years for fraud and, get this, actual bigamy. Turns out that's still very much illegal in all 50 states. Who knew? Besides, everyone with basic common sense. Archer got a reduced sentence for cooperating with authorities, which basically meant throwing his boss under the bus for some other shady business practices. Honor among thieves is clearly not Archer's strong suit. Shocking, I know. His parents sold their vacation home to pay for his legal fees, which honestly makes me a little sad. They're nice people who somehow raised a complete sociopath. His mom still sends me birthday cards, which is awkward, but sweet. Now for the truly wild part, Archer has been writing to me from prison. Writing letters on paper like we're in some kind of 19th century romance novel. The first one started with "Dearest Stella," and I laughed so hard I scared my cats. Yes, cats plural. I adopted another one. Her name is Karma, and she's appropriately vicious. In these letters, Archer has expressed deep remorse and a newfound understanding of his actions. He's finding himself through prison yoga and has realized what he threw away. I've been using these letters as kindling for my fire pit when I have friends over. Nothing brings people together like burning correspondence from a convicted felon ex-husband. Speaking of friends, the Ex-Wives Club is still going strong. We've added 2 more members, not Archer's victims, thankfully, but women with equally disastrous relationship stories. We're thinking of starting a podcast called Red Flags We Ignored. It's either going to be a huge hit or get us all sued for defamation. Stay tuned. Tiffany, wife number 2, is now dating her personal trainer and seems genuinely happy. Amanda, wife number 3, moved to Portland to find herself, which apparently involves a lot of hiking and artisanal kombucha, according to her Instagram. The bakery continues to thrive. We're opening a second location next month. I've hired a manager for the original store so I can focus on expanding. Who knew my trauma would lead to a successful business empire? Life is weird. As for my love life, well, remember Finn from the bookstore? Turns out I wasn't the only one he was bringing pastries to. I found out when I stopped by his store unexpectedly and saw him canoodling with a yoga instructor behind the rare book section. I didn't even get mad. I just said, "Your verification process has been terminated," turned around and walked out. Growth. After that, I took a dating hiatus to focus on myself, my business, and not committing justifiable homicide. But 3 months ago, I met someone. And before you roll your eyes and think, "Here we go again," this one feels different. His name is Phoenix. He's a high school history teacher, and I met him when he came into the bakery to order a retirement cake for the school principal. He asked me out 4 times before I said yes, and then I put him through the most rigorous background check this side of a government security clearance. Poor man even offered to show me his divorce papers on our 3rd date. I didn't accept, but the offer was appreciated. The best part? He understands my trust issues. He doesn't get offended when I double-check his stories or when I had his sister out confirm he was actually at their father's birthday dinner. He just laughs and says, "I'd be the same way if I'd been through what you have." Last week, he gave me a key to his apartment for emergencies or surprise visits. I think that's love in the post-Archer era. Oh, and I finally sold the house Archer and I owned together. The new owners sent me a thank you card saying they love the unique energy of the place. I didn't have the heart to tell them that unique energy is probably residual lying and betrayal, so I just sent them a gift basket from the bakery. So that's where I am 1 year later. Running 2 bakeries, dating cautiously, and finally sleeping through the night without waking up in a cold sweat, wondering if my whole life is a lie. If there's a lesson in all this, besides check public records before saying I do, it's that sometimes the worst thing that happens to you leads to the best version of yourself. Would I choose to go through this again? Hell no. Am I oddly grateful for where it led me? Kind of, yeah. Life is messy and complicated, and sometimes your husband has 3 wives, but in the end, it's still pretty amazing. Thanks for coming along on this journey with me. If you're ever in town, stop by the bakery. The moving on mocha cupcakes are on the house. With love and significantly fewer trust issues, Stella PS. Just to be safe, I still check Phoenix's location occasionally. Old habits and all that. Don't judge me.